So all of you are welcome here, and we will have this the Power BI training, which includes the BI desktop, BI service, and the DAX. Okay, so we'll cover everything. I'll also create 2 or 3 dashboards with you. I'll tell you how the dashboards are created, and those dashboards are not the ones which generally you see on YouTube. Like drag and drop, and that's it. No, we will be actually having a serious type of the dashboards. I mean, where you can actually see, okay, so what we have learned, how this goes into the dashboards. Okay, so today I have agenda here, and I have created these 9 bullet points for you. Very important things we will discuss, and we will go slow as well. If you have any questions, you can unmute and you can ask me. Make sure it's not coming from your any project, because that will confuse other people. If related with the topics, you can ask me. Okay. All right. So first of all, we are going to cover the BI desktop. Okay. Generally, people say BI only. Now, this is a free version on which we can create the dashboards. Ultimately, when we create the dashboards, those dashboards, if I have to share with my team, and I don't want to email them, like Excel files we email to each other. In offices, you have a FTP. There is a specific path which is created for, especially, teams like MIS, and they put the files, and then they don't actually go and email those files, because those files are very heavy in size. What they do, they just go and access those files from there. Any changes they do it there and save the files there, isn't it? That is how system works. Shared drive, basically, kind of. So when my dashboards are supposed to be shared with other people, I will have to switch this. I will have to take this dashboard to a BI service. BI service actually is a cloud-based, you can say, a service, which we will discuss later, because the most important part is the BI desktop. Once you create those dashboards, if you want your dashboard to be viewed by other people, you can go and publish those dashboards on the BI service. Now, BI service is not a software. Okay, we'll talk about that later. I'm just telling you that we will cover those points as well. Right now, we are not interested in knowing that once if I've created this, I want to share this with other people. So how I can share it, how I can watch this report on the mobile, how can I put the restrictions, that somebody should be able to read only, but at the same time, somebody should be edit the report. So that is something that's very simple point. We will discuss all this later. So this BI desktop which we have here, this BI desktop is, we are going to create the reports here. Okay, so the first point is that if you see, when you open the BI desktop, you basically see here these components. This DAX query component, this is a model view, this is a table view, and this is a report view. Okay, this was not available few months back, right? I was surprised to see this. So they keep on developing this tool every 2 months, 3 months. They keep adding new features. Sometimes even we are not aware, and then through YouTube or through some student, we get to know, and then we study it, and this is how you will also do the same thing. Nothing is permanent in the BI this industry. Every 2 months you find tons of new things. Okay, but if your fundamentals are strong, you're fine. You don't need the trainer then. Okay, so first of all, BI, why do we use the BI? We use the BI because we can create the dashboards. Amazing dashboards, right? Now, for dashboards, I'll maybe later on we will discuss, but right now, what I want to quickly do is that how actually, so this is your BI. First of all, let's get comfortable with this. This is my table view. Right now it is blank because there's nothing here. This is like, guys, Excel sheet where you have the sheet data, the data in the sheet. And this is where we create the relationships. Relationships means that suppose if you're working with 4 tables, some information is one table, some information in second table, some information is in third table. Now you want to go and create a dashboard where every information should be available in one single chart. How will you do that? Are you getting my point? Because all the tables, all the data are different. So relationship means you have to tell the BI, you have to educate the BI about this, that look, all the tables, actually they belong to same client, but they have the different headers over there. Call answered, call offered is in different table. Their date of birth, their date of joining is in different table. Now I want all the information in one dashboard. So how are we going to do that? Okay. So this is something which a lot of guys, they are confused about this. And this is something which actually also very important from the interview perspective, because questions you can expect one or two questions from this particular topic. Data modeling, we call it. So this is something we will discuss later. Okay, forget about this. So basically I have three parts here where I can have a visuals, I can have a table view, and I can go and create this relationships between the tables. Right now we are focusing only on the one table. Now the first thing which I want to do is, because let's immediately start this, I want to bring here the data. Now you can go and get the data from databases also, SQL Server, MS Access, or SAP. I don't know. There are so many tools. I'm not expert in all those, I mean, I don't teach SAP, so I can't tell you, but the options are there. If your concepts are clear, then you can do that. It's very easy. If we can bring the data from Excel file, we can bring the data from CSV files, from text files, right? So we can bring the data from every source. There are a lot of sources. If you see here, these even from the websites also, which I will tell you, right? So SQL Server is there, some data flows that I don't know. So we have many options here, which helps us in actually bringing the data from the outside world to the Power BI. Because if the data is not there, how will you do the analysis? How will you make the reports? So the first thing is that the data, right? Now we will use this the toy shop data today to understand this. First of all, let's see that what is this data. Let's make ourselves comfortable with this toy data. Now it's a very small data. It has around 2000 number of rows, right? But I mean, even if you have millions of rows available, it's in Excel or text file, Power BI can go and use that effectively. Okay, so my data is, I'm a shop vendor. I deal with the toys of different categories, right? Like I deal with the infants, and then maybe toddlers, and then the kids, having these different age groups, as you can see here. And actually goes to different countries, for example, and the product names, 10 or 15 product names, baby elephant, piano, lappy, different. This is a dummy data. How many items we ship on daily basis? I mean, the date is also there, right? Under which category? Is it a toy category? Is it a cloth category, wheeler, animal? Because we have divided each of these items into 4 or 5 categories. Okay, there's a cost attached to it, and there is a revenue, how much we are getting the revenue. It's not a profit, remember, right? Profit is SP minus CP. See, just a simple, the business we are actually getting. Let's say, for example, if I have sold 23 items total, this is what I have got in return, okay, on these 23 items. And customer feedbacks also we have got good, bad, average, and excellent, right? So let's say this is our company, which actually deals in selling of the kids, these, the toys based on the different categories. And then we have the shop name also, shop name, dealer name, manufacturer name. So this is how the data we have. Now in this database, we have, this is 3 years of data. So we have 2022 covered. It's basically a sales data. You can say you have 2021 and you have 2022, right? Fine. Now I have this data created, and if you see, this data actually is not just a data, but it's table. It's a table. We have created this table. It's not a normal data. How do you do that? Suppose header 1, header 2, right? And I put here some data in my Power BI. But I have to ensure that if the data in the future increases row by row or column by column, it should automatically be available in the BI if I refresh it, isn't it? I mean, I don't have to re-import it. So for that, what we generally do, this is a normal data. You just go and convert this to Excel tables. Now, table is not a new term. It should not be a new term for you if you are working in Excel. But still, I tell you, basically, you go in the insert and you say, I want to create this a table. Okay, table has many advantages, but we will not discuss that because that is something which is an Excel bar. So table, with the moment I create the table, or you can even use the Control T for table. This is what you see, create a table. My table has header CS. Now see, This is how the Excel creates the table. You get this table design populated, otherwise it's never there. The moment you select the table, it activates here. You can change the color templates also. I never use manual colors in my Excel tables. If I have to give some theme, to my Excel data, I always use these ones, ready-made ones, beautiful ones. Anyways, so in the table design, you have a table name also. By default, it's table 1. Excel generates this name, but you can change also this. I mean, you can write here, let's say, for example, dummy. Outside. And now this is actually a dummy table. Power BI will know this as a dummy T instead of table 1, table 2, table 3, because you see, you can import as many tables as you want from Excel. Now, if I want to import 10 tables, I don't want those tables like table 1, table 2, table 3, because I will be, confused. I will get confused if I have to work with those tables. I will not be knowing what is inside those tables. I will have to click and see the fields, expand those tables. So this name, for example, if it is a banking data, I can write here, bank table. You can write the underscore as well. Table TPI. If it is a data related with the sales, right, sales table. So this way, on our Power BI window, which I will show you, it is going to help you to basically understand that this is my table, this is the table which I want, So let's not name them like table 1, table 2. Anyways, so I've already created this table, Control T, and this is the name of the table is toy data. I'll tell you what is the benefit of this. I mean, once you have this table, so what happens, if in future you add anything here, right? For example, if I add here, let's say this field, let's see the part of the table. So when you refresh in the Power BI, what happens? The new data also gets captured. So this is, let me add to this. Once this table is there, this is a file name, simple file, Excel. It has only one sheet data. The data, there can be more data, which we will not discuss right now. Okay. We are just believing that we have only one sheet and there is a table called toy data. We go back here in the Power BI and I'm just going to import the data from Excel. If you guys know SQL Server, you can import the data from SQL Server as well, right? If you want to simply go and paste the data here, blank table, I mean, just copy the Excel table and say Control V, you can do that as well. I'll tell you all that. It's not important right now. So we'll use the import data from Excel. Okay. You can also see in the ribbon in the home tab also, you find here the Excel workbook. You can use this as well, up to you. Okay. Maybe after 2 months, 3 months, they may not have this option here. So don't worry. I mean, they keep on doing these things, right? Just to, I mean, from the user, I say that to make the user feel comfortable of that everything should be easily available, right? So they keep coming with the new ideas. So the fundamentals say that if this import data from Excel, I mean, if it is here or if it is anywhere else, it's definitely is assigned for the Excel task, right? So I can just go and click here or here anywhere. Once I click on the import data, let's try to capture the file. So let's go to the folder, which is let me say all files. BI. I guess it was the BI. What was the folder? So BI weekend batch. This is the file which is there. So BI. This is the one. So click here, okay, and let's open the file. Okay, so BI is not about how to bring the data. Okay, BI is all about creating the reports, right? Like sometimes students ask me, sir, do you know how to get the data from SQL Server? Do you know how to get the data from, different softwares? They join the training for these things. No, bringing the data it's already available there. I mean, we have the auto steps here. As you see, everything, this is on the auto system, right? You will be guided at every step. You just need to follow those things. Okay, even if it is a SQL Server or MS Access database, anything, it's very easy to bring the data. The work actually starts when you have the data there and now you want to create the reports. Okay. So if you see here, I will click on the toy data. You see that there is a sheet name also available. Okay. So this is a sheet sign and this is the table. So we'll always use the table data. It's the same data actually, but it generates the two formats. One is the table, the name which we have given, and the sheet name. So if you go in my that Excel sheet, the sheet name is actually this children data. So I'm just want to, select this particular data. And I say that I want to load the information. Now transform is also there. What do you mean by that? You see that load means you don't want to go and do any changes in the data. Okay. Transform means that you are interested in changing the data. You want to do some filters. You want to apply some maybe sorting. Maybe you want to delete some rows. So this actually will take you to the Power Query window, for which I will give you the access as we discussed. Okay. So let me show you. So basically load means you're not going in the Power Query window. Transform means you're going in the Power Query window, because Power Query is what? ETL. Extract, transform and load. Power Query is all about data cleaning, right? 90% of the time you don't get the data in a proper way. And the BI say that I cannot help you if you don't give me the proper data, because my job is to create the reports. But for that, I got to have a proper data, proper structured data, all those unwanted things, right? So Power Query actually plays the role over there. Power Query says, I'm going to clean the data because I have those tools available. I have the formulas, I have the filtering, I have the sorting, I have many things. So you go and use me for the data cleaning. Once the data gets cleaned, then that data we will supply to the Power BI. And then Power BI will be happy to use that. So I'm just going to click on the transform data. You guys can check both the options one by one when you practice. So once you transform the data, you see that you're on a different window, guys. Now, this is not a Power BI window. We totally understand this, right? First of all, what is this window? This is called the Power Query. Power Query is available in Excel also, in BI also, and both are same. In Excel, when we use it, we use to clean the data there. Here, when we go and use this, we will use this for only BI. I'll show you today. The first thing is that, the very first thing which we want is that I want to go back to my BI. So I will simply go and say close and apply. I'm closing this window. Closing this window means it's not going to close the BI. Close. Okay, let's make ourselves comfortable because some of you may not be knowing these things. So let's just wait for this. Now you can see that you are back on your Power BI window and those options are gone. Import Excel and all that. Because now once the data is here, that option is gone. So I told you what do you have to do? You have to, if you want the new data, boom, Excel workbook. Click on the Excel workbook and now you can import a new Excel file. And that new Excel file will show up here next to the toy data. Okay. So once you back on your this BI, right? Now this is a visual. This is a report view because we have not created any view. You will see this empty. Okay. On this side, you will see that there is something which is uploaded, which is what? Which is actually my data. Toy data. If I click on this, I can see all the fields. Very nice. The sigma sign stands for the numbers. This is the Power BI job. It does this for you, right? Cost, item, shift, revenue. These are numbers. So we can apply the sum, average, all that. The formulas, aggregations. We can apply the functions on these. So that's where this sign is there, which is going to help you. Okay. So now this data is visible here, but where I can see the data. So let's go to the data view, table view. So this is where the table actually is available. Now I'm telling you one very important thing. This is the BI view. This data right now you're looking at, this is the BI view. This is not the Power Query, right? If I have to go back to the Power Query to do some changes in the data, for example, how can I do that? Because you should be knowing how to, go from this window to the Power Query and then come back to and fro movement. We should be comfortable. So it's very easy. Well, we just go to the Home tab, and in the Home tab, you see there's a option called Transform Data. Transform means it's not transfer, it's transform. There's a big difference between transform and transfer, right? Transfer is that something which is you are actually passing from one thing to the another. Transform actually means overall the changes, isn't it? I did a big transformation. My weight has been reduced to 60 kg from 80 kg. You can't say that I've done a big transfer, isn't it? Transformation. So transform data means you're going to change the data. You're going to shape up the data the way you want. Okay, so let's click on the transform data, and here we are back on the Power Query window. Now the question comes that why do we have the two data views? Power BI view is also there. That is different view. This view is also there, and this is also a different view. We will talk about that. Okay, in a while. So this is my Power Query window, right? So first of all, let's make sure that whenever we have the data, you see there are two options: load data or transform data. If you use the transform data, you're directly here in the Power Query. But if you don't use that transform, and if you simply go and say that I want to simply load the data, then you will not see this Power Query window. You will be here. You will be directly here because you said, I just want to load the data. Okay. Now, anytime if I have to do any data trimming, I have to change the data, I have to remove, the junk unwanted things from my data, I'll go in the Power Query. And just because I just want to have a look on my data, I just want to see that what are the categories, what are the age group. Okay, so how is the sale in this? This looks like Excel. So I don't have to go to the Power Query. You can go, but you don't have to. You can immediately go and check the data here as well, right? Like suppose I'm just checking for my calculation that what about this data? Is it correct or not? I just want to have a look because I don't want to open the Excel file and see the data. I have the data here now, right? So why not here? So this is here for your basically the data reference. Of course, you can do a lot more, but right now we will not discuss that. Okay. So one thing is sure that we now know that there is a Power Query window and there is a BI window. Okay. Now let's come back to here. Now let us understand what about the visuals. These are all the graphs which you have created in Excel also, right? So these are the same graphs, but of course they have more features. Their pixel, the quality is also superb. So now the first thing is that what I want to show is I want to create a simple chart, column chart. Okay, so I'm just going to, click on this, the column chart. Just click on the chart and you see this is where the chart comes. Are we noticing this, right? Right? If I have to change this chart, I can go and click on this. That's it. This, you see, if I want this graph, I can. If I want this graph, I can click on this. The chart will be changed. Okay. If I want two graphs, let me click outside. And let's say I want to create this chart, area chart. I click here and you see there is another chart, right? If I want another chart, but let's say I've selected this and I want the third chart. Let me resize this. If I selected this by mistake, let's say I didn't click outside this. And if I go with some, let's say this tree map, it's going to overwrite the chart. Of course, you can undo, Control Z, so don't worry. But what I'm trying to say is that your selection plays a very important role. Okay, so anyways, let's delete this. So this is my basically a visual. Now you have here the table. Let us see that how the visual actually looks. Okay, so if you see here guys, every visual has three components most of the time. The one is where you add the data, x-axis, y-axis, legend, small multiples, tooltips. Another one is particularly for the formatting. Here I can go and give the colors and I can create the borders and all that stuff, right? And it's very easy. Anyone can learn it. You don't need to have any degree for that. Then there's an analytical pane that we will see. Okay, most of the time we use these two only. Now, these two windows are always there, and under each window, these feeds, they can change according to the visual because all visuals are not going to be same. Okay, so first of all, I'm using this simple chart, which in Excel you must have seen. Now, what I want actually, let's say I want to see the total sales, the revenue based on the age category. Okay, we all know this is our x-axis, this is our y-axis. So in the x-axis, I will go and drop this. It's like pivot, isn't it? In the pivot, we go and drag and drop. So you put the age group here and you put the revenue here. Okay, let's say I want to see that in the y-axis. So you see then a graph is created, which basically is a vertical column chart, column wise, right? So that's why it is called clustered column. Okay, it always creates these boxes in the vertical direction. Now I can see that this is how my age group is, right? So we can see that this is the age group where we are getting the maximum revenue. Most of the sales are coming from here. And this is 3 to 5 and 6 to 1, almost they are at par, equal. But in terms of, who is doing the highest business and the lowest business, we have a clear picture here, right? We have a clear picture here, correct? Now, if by chance, when you're practicing, for example, I remove this, okay? Suppose, for example, you put the y-axis here and you put the revenue here. Let's say you did this mistake. What will happen? What will happen? The graph will not come the way it should, isn't it? So you need not to worry. You need not to worry. You can always go and just close this, delete this from, remove this from here, and try the another one. It's very the basic thing is y-axis always refers to the numbers where you want to show the performance. Cost-wise, penalty-wise, profit-wise, sales-wise, count-wise, isn't it? X-axis always refers to the labels against which we are talking. Those numbers are standing against which category? Dates, years, months, countries, headers, labels we are talking about. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just go and put this here, and the revenue I will go and put this here. Simple. It's very easy. Drag and drop. Okay. So this is how the visual comes. Now, once this visual is created, we all can see how this, looking. Now, my next question to you is, it's not a question actually, but I want to tell you now, what is the difference between Power Query and the BI, the data view, right? Now, suppose your management said that 0 to 6 months, it's dicey. We still haven't got the complete data, or we have got the data, but we have come to know that there are some wrong numbers reported in this. So why don't you just go and remove this particular field from the visual or from this dashboard, the graph, right? Okay, so now what are you going to do? Are you going to go and remove this data from here? Never. You will never do that, because removing the data from here is a bad idea. Don't delete the data. It may be, few days later, you may come to know that data is correct. Keep the data. You can cut this data from here. You can put that data somewhere else also, but let's not do that. What I'm trying to say is that this data we are using as it is. Whatever the data we have to go and trim, subtract or add, we will do that in the Power BI itself using the Power Query. Okay? How? Very important point. Understand. Maybe some of you say, okay, so Ajay, as you said that the management is asking for the removal of this particular, let me have this data. So they say that they don't want this data, 0 to 6 months. Okay, fine. Let's filter this, isn't it? Like in Excel, we do it. And now we don't have that data here. You can scroll this. You will not find this data anywhere, isn't it? Right? So if I have put the filter here, I've deselected the 0 to 6 months. The question is that, is it going to do the same, the change in the visual also? If I refresh in the home tab, there is an option called refresh. Let's refresh this. Okay. We have done some changes. We expect those changes to be implemented here. Oh, you don't see that. Why? You don't see that. Okay. That means if I do any changes here, that's not going to impact the visual, because this is not the area where you are supposed to do the transformation. Remember? All right. So where we're going to go? We're going to go to the transform data. Okay. You can directly also click on the transform data. Power Query is here, waiting for you to clean the data. Now, the good part of the Power Query is that a lot of things here, they look like Excel features. They work like the Excel features, like filtering, sorting, all that stuff. Okay. Right now, my job is to actually go and say that, all right, so I don't need the age group, and I'm just going to say 0 to 6 months. Remember, this is not the error. It says that your list is incomplete. So if I say that, okay, so I have more items, I can say load more. And it's going to show me all the list here. It's going to, load everything from here. Okay. I was just thinking that if I can just resize this, it's not coming, but you can always search here, like, if you just want to search some. The point what we are trying to make here is that we will go and say, we don't need you. And we'll say, okay. All right. Now, when I said okay, and now I say close and apply, because now you can see 0 to 6 months is not available here. It's not visible here. Pay attention. I'm going to say close and apply. So this is the data cleaning, very small data cleaning I have done. Okay, I'll close this file. It's going to take some time depending upon your data size, right? Now, when we go here in the report view, but first of all, let's see the data view. I will go and click on this, and to my surprise, 0 to 6 is not there. Now, is it deleted from the data? We will see that. Right now, it's not there. So if it is not there, then let's go to the visual, right? So if I go in the visual, you see that I don't have that category there. So it means if I do any change in the Power Query window, that will impact my visual. If I do anything here, filtering, or you can't remove the things, you can't remove the column, rows, however, you can remove the columns here, but I'm just talking about the filter part right now. Okay, if I filter anything here, it will not change the visuals. Visual, my graphs will use all the fields which I have put here. Doesn't matter how many fields I'm gonna unfilter in this data view. But if I do any sort of thing, the same thing in the Power Query, because Power Query is the one which is actually supplying the data to the BI, it's not going to be shown here. Now, let's say the management comes and they say, well, the data is correct. Please start showing that data. The same data, please start repopulating that data. Let's do that, right? Now we have to go back to the Power Query again. Okay, see that now. The beauty of the Power Query, understand, Power Query never deletes the data. Every step here, you see these steps, right? Every step actually tells you the story. It's like VBA, the macros, where you record the steps, right? Every recording, every step, recording has a step, and every step does some action. Now, if you have noticed, when I applied the filter, this step was formed here, was created here. It wasn't there before. So Power Query, what it does, based on your actions, it starts creating the steps. It gives the relevant name based on your action, and then the data changes are visible there. For example, if I go back here, change type, you'll find here this category is still showing me the 0 to 6 months of the data. It means that I can have the data available at every step. After change type, I did something, and that data is here, where I can't see where I put the filter on 0 to 6 months. So if I simply go and remove this step from here, what will happen? Filtered row. It means you will get back to the previous data. And in the previous data, there was no filter. Now I have the entire data. So if I now go and say close and apply, if I say close and apply, what will happen? I will have this data actually used in the Power BI. So in Power Query, if you have 10 steps, right, the last step will be treated as a final data. Now you may ask me, so what this name is all about, change type. This is the Power Query part, but still I like to give you the basic ideas of the Power Query, right? See, change type means that when you have got the data from here, the source, right? When you imported the data, this is the Power Query style. It has picked up that name, the table name. The table name is children data. Then there is this children data, the type is sheet, and this is the toy data, which has a table data type, and something else also came. Okay, this we need not to worry about it. This is inbuilt the way the Power Query, when it connects with the data, you can see the formula here also. It's picking the data from the toy shop. So it's actually giving us two different ways. One is the sheet name. By the sheet name, it picks the data, and the second is it picks the data with the table name. We always have to be keep our focus on the table name. Very simple, right? So this is a step 1 which Power Query does. This is a step 2 which Power Query does. It basically, I think, goes through each and every point of the data. It reads the data, right? And if you pay attention here, these are all the data types. Text, number, both are available here, which means Power Query has not yet identified the data type, if it is a number or if it is a text. Finally, when the data comes here, Power Query what it does, this is the nature of the Power Query. It starts converting the data types, the numbers to its relevant data type. Now you don't see here 1, 2, 3 age group. You see that? Because Power Query read this data as a text, which is correct. And for the date, there is another data type. For category, there is a text data type. If you see any number, pure number, you see we have 1, 2, 3. But in the previous step, the data was ABC 1, 2, 3. So it means that it has read the data and it has finally converted all the data types. I mean, it has put the data into its right, the formatting. And that is why Power Query named this step as change type. You can rename this, but there's no need. So every time you bring the data, these steps Power Query does itself. Right? And what it does, as I said, is a change type. But let's say you are interested more in like, okay, so change type what? You can always see in the formula bar. It's basically saying, okay, so I'm just going to, this is the formula which Power Query uses. Power Query always uses a formula like Excel does. And this is something you learn in the M code and the Power Query. M code is a language. Like VB is for Excel. Power Query also has a language which is for M code. Another level of Power Query. Right? Because sometimes Power Query is not able to help you in that data cleaning. So then you need something more powerful than Power Query. Again, in the Power Query, which is writing the formulas by yourself. M code. Okay. Anyways, so one can clearly see that the category type is text, date type is date, shop number is text. So this is all, what it integer, this is integer. So Power Query does this job. You need not to worry about it. Basically, all I'm trying to say is that Power Query has a step here when you do any action. And that step is obviously written in the formula, because how otherwise the output is coming? Obviously through formulas. That formula you can always see here. Like for example, if you go back here and if we say that, we don't need the age group called 1 to 2, for example. So if I say I don't need this age group, I say, okay, Power Query name this as a filtered row, so that when the user is going through this, he knows that, okay, there is some filtering happened. But now which filtering is happened? I mean, filter on which particular field? That I do not know. That I can see in the formula bar. So in the formula bar, I see that it is selecting the rows, right? Again, need not to worry about this. This is not your syllabus. But here, you can see it's basically saying age group is not equals to 0 to 6 months. So one can get the idea, oh, so this is what is happening here. Though I can see here also, but let's say if you're not able to see this icon special, you can read this. Okay. So the point is that the changes which you do in your data, that will be considered final for the Power BI. Okay. So once I have done that, as we decided that we like to keep this, I say the close and load, close and apply. And now just gonna refresh all that. Okay. So once this is done, we will go back here and now we will see we have got the age group. So it means that the change which we do in the Power Query, that is the data which you will see here and also in the visual. Okay. So these are the important things. We must understand. So this is just for my view. I mean, I have to do some quick kind of check the numbers. I can go and check these numbers over here. I don't have to go to the Power Query. Okay. So I hope this is clear to us that what is a Power Query data view, what is a BI data view, and then the difference. We have understood that what happens if I do some changes in the BI and what happens if I do some changes in the Power Query. Please understand one thing, that when I say that BI, in this view, if you do any changes, that will not basically impact your visual. Well, it is based on the today's session, because some columns we can add here as well. In the Power Query also we can add, but we can add some columns here as well. It has its own significance, which is we will discuss in the DAX, not here. So if I go and create any new column here, for example, just to give you the idea, new column. Let's say this is a column and I'm going to name this column as, let's say 6. I press enter. Now, are we seeing this column? If we add here, it's not going to show me in the visual here. See this? I'm just going to refresh this. See this? This column is there, right? So it means that if I have to use this column, for example, in the visual, let's create a new visual. Can I not use it? Of course you can use it. You can use this. If I go and put this here, for example, I can use this here. Are you getting my point? Okay, I can use this here. It's now counting the numbers. Okay, my point is that don't get confused that if I do any changes in the BI here, not in the Power Query, it will never impact my visual. No, it is. But as far as these filtering, if I select something from this, if I put any filter over here, believing that this will then go off from my, disappear from my visuals. No, I'm wrong, because this is just that the view for me. It's not going to do any changes in the BI visual. Okay, this is just for me. If I have to see filter part, some categories I want to see, I can. Okay, so anyways, I'll just simply go and select this and delete this. So these things you will, understand as we move ahead. Okay, so one thing is clear, that Power Query is really, really very important because it controls the data.